Okay, if you are watching at home and wondering what's going on, we're just proving to you that we are actually live. So we will start again. Good evening and welcome to Marley Mancunia Studios. I'm Dave Sweetmore and you are watching MMTV live from the heart of Manchester. We have got a great show lined up for you as always. Loads of great music and loads of great guests from the world of music and sport. And as we always say, please share this at home. Let's get as many people watching as we possibly can. It is proper Manchester rock and roll television, so we will warn you now, if you are watching at home with your kids or whatever, please do beware. There may be a little bit of effing this and effing that, but it is rock and roll television. It is from Manchester. It is MMTV Volume 11. Thank you for joining us tonight. We've got a great show lined up for you a little bit later on. Live music. We've got Leon from Black Sonic Revolver, and we've also got the Capitals playing live as well. Tonight on the show, our special guests who we're going to be talking to, a former Hacienda manager, Angie Matthews, boxer Aqib Fiaz. We've got a studio audience with us as always, and we have got a great motivational speaker tonight, Daran Campbell. First of all, though, before we do anything, actually, as you can hear the people cheering, we have got Hacienda royalty in tonight, and we've got a DVD here. Let me just tell you a little bit about this DVD. On the 25th of November 2000, in a warehouse in central Manchester, 69 lots from the Hacienda were auctioned off, and this special DVD came out called Do You Own the Dance Floor? Now, this is a limited edition DVD, and former Hacienda manager Angie Matthews has given us 2 to give away. So if you are watching at home, please share this. And what we'll do is our media team a little bit later on will pick 2 people at random to win copies of this DVD, yeah? It's a very special DVD. Do You On the Dance Floor? About pieces of the Hacienda that people now own. It's well worth owning, yeah? All you need to do is share this MMTV and yeah, you could be in the chance of winning one of them, and we will announce a little bit later on via our social media who has won them DVDs. But to start off the night, a fella who's come from Scotland to be with us tonight. In the past, he's supported Sly Diggs, Modern Faces, and Shaun Ryder's Black Grape. This Saturday, he's in Warrington supporting the Wenatchee tribe, but tonight he's with us and he is opening up MMTV Volume 11. Will you please put your hands together and welcome Marc Culley.
There's gold, there's wine and sunshine. For you I'd give up them all. You're the devil who leaves behind me, and you're destined for a fall. How could you take away the Babylon of her today? I bet her eyes turn you to stone. There's gold, there's wine, and sunshine. For you I'd give up them all. For you I'd give up them all. For you I'd give up them all. Thank you very much, Chef. Do you remember lighting the flame? I blew it out with all my silly games. And do you remember the way we used to smile? And do you remember the way we used to cry? But she don't know where she's been running from. And God only knows if she will carry on. And I know that she will, 'cause she always gets me through. And I know that she will, 'cause she always gets me. She goes round and round and round and round my head. She goes round and round and round and round my head. She goes round and round and upside down. I've lost the love I thought I'd found. She goes round and round and round and round my head. Cause I'll be the down and you'll be the right, and I'll be the wind while you'll be the tide. I just want you to drown me in your light. I need you to bring me back to life. She don't know where she's been running from, and God only knows if she will carry on. And I know that she will, 'cause she always gets me through. 'Cause I know that she will, 'cause she always gets me. Round and round and round and round my head. She goes round and round and goes round and round and upside down. I've lost the love I thought I'd found. She goes round and round and round and round my head. Thank you very much. Cheers.
MMTV 11, let's hear it for the amazing Marc Culley. Thank you, mate. Listen, before we let you go, now we mentioned earlier on that obviously you've been on tour with a load of amazing people. You do a lot of work up in Scotland, obviously where you're from. But I do believe there was a bit of a story about the time when you went on tour and you supported Black Grape. What was that about? What happened?
Up in Aberdeen, supported Black Grape, obviously at Sean Ryder and Kermit, and I think Anton was a bit too pissed to take Sean at the airport the next day, so he asked me to take him in my little rubbish little Seat car, and he had to squeeze in the back with his manager and his bouncer, and it was a bit mad, but he slept the entire way to the airport, so I never really got to chat to him.
Not many people could say they've done that, though. Brilliant, thank you. Let's hear it, and good luck on Saturday supporting the Wenatchee Tribe. Great band in Warrington. Yeah, Marc Culley, let's hear it. Cheers, thank you. Okay, MMTV Volume 11. We have got lots more live music coming up for you on the programme. One thing I do want to mention again is our next guest was the former member of the most important nightclub in the world, the Hacienda. She's kindly given us a couple of these to give away. Do You Own the Dance Floor? Special DVDs about the Hacienda. If you want to win one of these amazing DVDs, all you need to do is share this, share MMTV, and of course you could be in a chance of winning, and our media team will pick a couple of winners a little bit later on. Speaking of all things Manchester, before we get Angie up onto the stage, this forthcoming Saturday, it is the amazing event at Bowler's Manchester in Wonderland. If you don't know about it, it's an amazing event. 3 arenas of music. There's the main arena with loads and loads of the greatest tribute bands in the country. There's a room with Acid House, all kinds of dance music with some of the greatest DJs in the world, and then there's another room with loads of top Manchester DJs. It's at Bowler's. It's this Saturday. All you need to do is type in on the internet Manchester in Wonderland. It is supported by MMTV and JD Sports. Get your tickets. It's going to be a top night. Manchester in Wonderland this Saturday at Bowler's. Speaking of Manchester, though, a lady who played a massive part in the Manchester music scene. She was the manager of the most important club ever in the city, the Hacienda. We make some noise, studio audience, for Angie Matthews. Come on, Ange. Up here, come on. Oh. Take a seat.
Hello,
So then, how's it going? All right, yeah?
Yeah, it's going good.
Good.
Thanks.
Nice, isn't it? Nice setup.
Hey, I like
nice
it.
chairs,
Yeah, it's really
television,
good.
bands.
It's like those sleazy Soho clubs that you read about, you know, and they're all writers.
I
and
don't know if that's the
bohemian.
impression we're trying to give, to be honest, but
Well,
yeah,
I
we get
like
where
it, except now it's all musos. I like it. It's good.
Right,
I'm coming
listen,
again.
I want to talk to you, obviously, about the Hacienda. We can't have you
Of
and not
course.
talk about the Hacienda.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about you, first of all.
Okay.
You were the manager of the Hacienda. Was that
Yeah.
your first job running a bar or a club, or did you come from a background of running venues?
No, well, sort of. I did my degree in Manchester and then got elected as ENS officer. Did that for a year and then wanted to work in the music business, but there wasn't any girls doing anything then. So every time I applied for a job, the agent wanted me to be a secretary. And I got to know Mick Hucknall. Simply Red hadn't been signed. So I worked for them for quite a long time. Actually, I was covering for their manager, Elliot Rashman. And then I just decided that I'd go into promoting and was working at the Boardwalk. Do you want me to carry on and on and on?
Absolutely. Come on, we want to know.
And then they were opening, Factory Records were opening Dry Bar in Oldham Street. And the guy who was doing the Hacienda then was going to be the manager there. So they needed a manager. So they'd seen me around. And of course, the thing about being the only girl was I stood out because I was the only girl. And they just headhunted me really from the Boardwalk and interviewed me.
Was it very much a case of being in the right place at the right time, your face being in the right places, and that's how you got to know all these amazing people? Yeah,
well, it was exactly the right time, yeah.
So, were you the first manager at the Hacienda then when it opened its doors?
No, let me think. Ian, you know Ginger, what was his name? Howard, and he was at the time managing Stone Roses, I think, at the same time. and he was the first manager of the Hacienda. But they had a cooperative then. It was all putting bands on, and there was about 8 of them that voted on everything, and of course that was when it was losing the most money. So it just didn't work then.
So when you walked into the Hacienda, you became the manager of the Hacienda, like you said?
Well, no, there's another story. As I was doing my degree, the Hacienda had opened, so I worked behind the bar for a while. And then it was still indie bands then, and you could used to be able to just walk in the daytime and sit there. Well, of course, it was a new building, bright, shiny, and it got a glass roof, so it's just fantastic just to sit there in the day. Yeah, it's good.
When you were working there, whether it be behind the bar or when you became manager, did you know how important that place was going to be? Did you have a feeling that the Hacienda was going to go down in musical history? Did you know? Could you see what was coming?
Not when I worked behind the bar, but when house music happened, and there were just queues around the block, and at that time I was then the manager. I remember being in the DJ box with Wilson, and everybody was just going crazy. It must have been about 1 a.m. when we still shut at 2 o'clock in them days. And it was just full on. Saturday night, it would have been, I think it was Mike Pickering, and Todd Terry was the guest that night. And he said, this is history, you're seeing it, and you're helping create it. And that always stuck in my mind, yeah.
Obviously, you hear a lot about the bands and the DJs that work for Tony Wilson. For someone who was an employee, whether it be a member of the bar team, whether it be as the manager of the venue, what was Tony Wilson like to you as your boss?
Well, he just let me do, all of them did, because I had directors' meetings every Thursday, which aren't like any other business meeting or anything you've ever been to. So there'd be an argument about drugs. That would be the first thing as soon as you went in, 2 o'clock Thursday afternoon. And then Hooky would be arranging what time we were finishing so he and I could go down to Paradise Factory, because Thursday night was my only night off. So he'd want me to open the safe because we'd taken things off people on the door. Then we used to have to get all the crates of beer up, and then we'd start. Tony's involvement on a Thursday, individually he'd be fine, you'd go out for dinner or something, but on a Thursday he would swan in his black coat, and he always spoke as if he was on stage. Out came his personal laptop, which in those days nobody had their own or carried it around.
I was just going to say a laptop.
I know, well, it would been a little personal PC, I don't know what he would have had. He must have plugged himself in, and of course everybody was darling. Darling, he was called everybody darling. And all they wanted to know is how much money was made last week or lost, how much I needed for the following week, and that was it really. How many people were in, and then they were always arguing amongst themselves.
In the early days, before the dance music scene took off, when you say it was losing money.
Yeah, it was just crazy days.
What was it like? Did you think this isn't going to last, or did you think something's going to happen here?
Okay, I didn't really I had no involvement in that side of it then, and I had a break for a couple of years. So I just didn't know, but nobody thought it'd last. It was really the only reason it kept going was because New Order were bringing in so much money, and it was all their money. And I think it was probably 1987, 1988 when it turned round, and we didn't actually need New Order's money anymore. Well, I say that. We did in the last year.
So all this was going on, obviously it became one of the most important nightclubs in the world. You were heavily involved with it. Yeah. We all know about all the bands that played there. The Roses played there. Madonna's first ever UK gig was there. What you remember as working there, obviously everybody says they went to the Hacienda. Do you remember any famous faces that kind of like went in there as customers that were in there a lot all the time? Is there anyone that springs out that was like, they were always in there?
Well, I'm just thinking who was always in there. The Mondays were always in there. Carl Power, he was always in there.
Fat Neck.
Bears. It was just what we see as the Mad Chest a lot were always in there. Then there were other people who were famous. I mean, Bridget Nielsen, she was there once. Dirtiest bra straps I've ever seen in my life, but she was in there.
Funny how you remember that.
Yeah.
One thing I want to go back to, I did ask you a few minutes ago, and obviously we spoke about Hacienda and where it got up to. I want to ask you that question again. You was involved with all this.
Yeah.
All this was going on. Did you know that in years to come, it was going to be part of the most important history of Manchester? Did you know it, or was it just a case of you were there and it was going on?
I thought it was just as I saw us lot, because at the end of the day, there weren't that many of us, that were there so much. So I'm not really, I sort of knew, but I didn't know it was going to be to this extent. I knew it would always be talked about, but I didn't realise how many books were going to get written out about it. Didn't realise how often I was going to ask to do things connected to it. Yeah, it's become big business again, hasn't it?
You were obviously a massive part and an integral part of the Hacienda. You've got a lot of stories to tell, a lot more than we can fit in now. If I was to ask you what your highlight was of the Hacienda, you look back at all that time you've spent at the Hacienda, what are your fondest memories?
Oh, God, I've got so many. I don't know. Ian, do I talk about any particular one? Constantly. Never stops. Well, I suppose Vivienne Westwood, who I ended up working for 10 years, she came down, didn't know anything about music, but had a drink with her. But I think I never used to sit down, really, when the club was open. The only time I ever did, completely forgotten his name. Joe Strummer. Joe Strummer was there. Yeah. And that's the only time I ever saw him in there. Said to the bar staff, Joe Strummer's in, taking half an hour out. Hi, my name's Ange, would you like a drink with me? Yeah, so we did, it was good, yeah.
Do you know what, you say all these amazing stories and everything, the Hacienda was going on, it was a massive part of your life, must have been amazing to be you back then.
Yeah.
Then the Hacienda came to an end.
Yeah.
What happened then? What happened to Angie Matthews then?
Oh,
what did you do after?
It wasn't good, really. It was really hard to get a job. Well, I couldn't get a job in Manchester. I went to live in London. I did get work. I was quite employable. I'd got managerial skills, but I ended up working for corporates and hated it. And then I just knew I had to come back to Manchester. So I did, and worked for Westwood. I worked for some horrible places as well because I needed the money. And now I'm at Altrincham Market, so it's really good. Yeah.
The Hacienda is always going to be...
I sell...
What do you do at Altrincham, we're being asked?
Well, Ian Wilde, otherwise known as Eastie, who was a sound engineer, still is actually for 808 State, he makes ceramics and I sell them. And we're doing really well. We supplies all
Well,
the
I'll
top
tell you what, you're getting a plug in here.
yes.
What they called? What's the company called?
Fire Station Square Pottery.
And you do know that MMTV are looking for sponsors?
Yes.
And so, yeah. No, seriously though, obviously your stories are a big part of the Hacienda. You can only tell the stories like...
Well, as I always say, I stopped counting how many nights after 1,000, but I know that I've been to more Hacienda nights than any other living person, so... Because I was the licensee as well.
Have you wrote a book yourself?
No, not yet.
Why not?
Because I always say my mother's still alive. Can you imagine what stories I've got to tell? I don't really want to hear, hearing them or anything.
That's the point, isn't it? One day.
One day, yeah.
One day. So what are the plans for Angie Matthews then? Are you going to continue coming telling stories about the Hacienda?
I think it looks like I will be doing it. And it gets, as time goes on, it gets more and more people are asking. So, yeah, and I will be writing a book.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's absolutely brilliant that you can tell these stories.
Yeah.
You can come on MMTV and other places and tell these stories. You're a massive part of the Hacienda history, and it's been brilliant having you on MMTV.
Good.
Angie Matthews.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this is MMTV Volume 11 from Marley Mancunia Studios in Manchester. We've still got some more live music to come. We've got a very special guest boxer, as we always do, who's going to be telling about his life and his career. But next up, one thing we always do is we have a motivational speaker, because obviously it is real life, it is Manchester television, and we've got a very, very special guest indeed now. When I was doing my research really earlier on, I did think I'm really, really looking forward to talking to this fella. You're going to find out why now. Will you please welcome Daran Campbell? Now, I'm going to do something similar to what we've just done with Ange, actually. We're going to talk about your life, and I dare say there's a lot of stuff you're going to tell us about and a lot of stuff you're not going to tell us about. I want to take you back to the very, very early days. This is where we are now, Marley Mancunia Studio, in Miles Platting in Manchester. This is where you were born and brought up. This is where you knocked about as a kid. I'm right in thinking.
That's correct, yeah.
Tell us about your childhood. What was your childhood like?
You know what? I was just born over the road, a place called Newton Street off Bradford Road. I've got 3 sisters and an adorable mother and a brilliant father who's sadly passed now. And I was brought up in a good caring home. There was a little bit of dysfunction there due to sort of my dad's lifestyle, but there was loads of love, you know, and he did what he had to do to put food on the table. And you know, I was taught good values, good morals. So there was no reason really for me to turn out how I did, but it just happened, you know. And so I was born in 1967, and I've got 2 older sisters and a younger sister. And you know, it was great. I went to St Mark's School in Miles Platting, and then I ended up going to Moston Brook. And my schoolhood was good, you know. I was quite popular in school, you know, and it was good. I had no problems. And then when I left school, I just started to get in with the wrong people. You know, I started to get in with the wrong people, and part of it was to fit in. You know, I didn't feel like I fit in anywhere. You know, I had this kind of void in me, and the people that I looked up to were people that were doing naughty stuff, so to speak. You know, crime, drugs, and all that sort of stuff.
So you brought up round here, you had quite a good upbringing, you had an happy childhood and all that kind of stuff. And the people that are watching now that perhaps don't know your story and all that, you did get into a life of crime, shoplifting and drugs. So are you saying it was a lot of that what started was from pure, am I right in saying pure peer pressure maybe?
Absolutely, yeah, definitely peer pressure. Even though my dad was a big cannabis dealer though, so that sort of didn't help because he was weed in the house as well, you know, all the time. And you know, it started. You know, I used to nick his weed. That's where it started from, and sell it to his customers. You know, he'd run out of weed, and I'd be stood behind him saying, "I've got." You know, when he'd run out, and selling it to them, and smoking it, and giving it away in school. You know, so that's where it started. And then I got to like 16, left school. I loved football. You know, football. If you see me when I was young, I always had a ball. You know, I'd go to the shop for my mum and my ball and all that sort of stuff. And then I just, you know, I don't know. I do believe today I suffer from the condition of addiction. You know, it was always I needed more. I always had to go one better. I always needed more. I could never stop. I'd always like carry on and on and on, whereas some of my friends didn't. They'd go home and stuff and, you know, and just get on with their lives, you know.
So you got into this life, which was a way of life, I dare say, of like, you know, the drugs and the shoplifting and stuff like that. And you became, I've got a couple of quotes here, you became notorious as a shoplifter to the extent you had a full page on the front page of the Manchester Evening News, and a high-up police officer for Manchester Police called you the best shoplifter he'd ever seen. Did you realise you were going on to that extent?
Did I realise what, sorry?
Did you realise what you were doing and that way of life you had was to such an extent? I kind of minimised it for myself because I thought it's only shoplifting. I'm not sticking a gun in anyone's face. You know, I'm not burgling houses. So I had to justify what I did for myself. So I knew it was wrong. So you was justifying it to yourself, really?
Yeah, I had to, you know, because it's wrong, you know. And like I say, I was taught morals and values, and I knew everything that I was doing from leaving school was wrong, like, you know, thieving, smoking, drugs, lying, cheating. I know I always had a conscience that would be screaming at me, this isn't right, but I'd ignore it, you know, and just go anyway, do it anyway. And then it became a way of life, shoplifting. You know what? I loved it in the end. I really loved it. You know, it was my only resource, and it served me well whilst I needed it, but it come at a detriment, obviously, as well. So
the more you did it, obviously the more addictive it got, and obviously you did turn your life around. We're going to talk about that in a minute. I want to sort of like miss out the few years in between, but obviously this run you had with the shoplifting and stuff, it did come to an end. You did end up in strange ways. I'm not going to talk too much about the next few years. I want to talk about how you turned your life around. Okay. One thing I want to ask you though is, you went to Strange. What are your memories of your first day in Strange Ways? Did it hit home what had happened?
Yeah, I was 21 when I went to Strange Ways in 1989. I got 12 months, and it was the first withdrawal from opiates that I had to do, and it was horrendous. You know, it was because them days heroin was a lot stronger than it is these days, and it just went on and on forever. You know, no sleep for weeks, horrendous. And I remember whilst I was in withdrawal, saying, I'm never coming here again, I'm never taking heroin again. Really, you know, believing my truth. And as soon as I got out, I started again. What
was the point in your life that you decided, because it would have been easy to stay in prison, come out and, you know, take off where you left off. but obviously at some point in prison, you made that decision to turn your life around. What helped you make that decision?
Flipping out. So I went to jail at 21. I didn't turn my life around until I was 40. So it was like 20 years of hell, you know, in and out, not just one time, you know, in and out of jail. It was kind of the nature of what I did. It was jail, out, use, hospitals, you know, all that sort of stuff.
I think that makes me question even more significant than the fact that it wasn't just once, it carried on and on for the best part of 20 years. Why after 20 years then? Why was it you went, right, I've got to stop this, need to turn my life around?
I just thought I'm getting too old for this, for one. I was 40, I was hitting 40. I'd done 2 rehabs and I'd gone in my 3rd rehab at 40. In Weston-super-Mare, miles away. I had to get out of this area for a bit. You know, not that the area was a problem, but whilst I was in it, I wasn't managing.
A lot of temptation.
Yeah, definitely. And I didn't have a defence when it was on offer. So I got to a treatment centre in Weston-super-Mare, completed a 6-month treatment programme. Lived in Bristol for a year after that because it's just up the road. And then I came back to Manchester for my son because, you know, my son had gone with my mum. Obviously, as a result of my addiction, I couldn't.
How old was your son at this point?
My son went to my mum at 7, and then when I got out of treatment, he was 14, and then I came back to Manchester and I got my son back, and he lived with me. He only lived with me up till 6 months ago. He's 25 coming up now. He's moved out with his girlfriend, but he needed a male intervention because my mum and my sisters. He didn't have that discipline for him, and he was going off. He's going off key as well, you know. And then I got him back, took him to my house, and he's stable now. You know, he's got a grade 3 mechanics. He's got a mechanic job. He's got his own car. He's got a place, and it's just amazing, you know, because it's a family illness addiction. Once one person in the family's ill, yeah, with addiction, the whole family are ill with it. They suffer with it. My mum was ill with it. My sisters was ill with it. My son obviously didn't have his dad, so. If that person recovers in the family recover, you know.
So you turned your life around, you came back up to Manchester, you got a great relationship back with your son, who's doing well, which is great to hear. Yeah. But it didn't stop there, your life hasn't stopped there, because you didn't just clean yourself up and think, right, I'm sorted now, I'll carry on with life. You've started helping people. So what made you decide to think, right, I've been through all this now, I can help people? What did you do?
Well, I knew that I didn't need a college degree to do this sort of stuff because I'd lived it all my life, you know, and you can't kid a kidder. And I do believe the best people to help addicts is an addict, obviously a recovered one. Which
I could see that, yeah.
Yeah, which is obviously class myself as today, a recovered addict. So, I'd done voluntary work with a treatment centre, my second treatment centre that I didn't complete. I'd done voluntary work for them, which is that picture that you see, for a year, you know, as a group facilitator. And then I became a group facilitator paid. And that was the first part for 4 years. And then at the minute, I work for a service called CGL, which is the biggest drug and alcohol provider in the UK at the minute. They're winning contracts all over because it's a real big service, and it's run by a lot of recovery people in it. So I'm doing outreach at the minute with rough sleepers and homeless, and I'm working. I met Andy Burnham the other day because he's the guy who sorted. It's called ABEN, which is a bed every night. So what he said is. There'd be no reason for anybody rough sleeping over this winter period, what's just like what we're in now, because I'm going to provide a bed for him every night. So because I'm in Tameside, he provided 3 church halls, you know, like dormitories in the church halls with beds in. So there was like 70 rough sleepers approximately in Tameside, and me and my colleague have managed to get, and along with a few other staff from Tameside Housing, I've managed to get them a bed every night, you know, and I've even got a few of them from the bed every night into rehab, you know. So yeah, brilliant.
that as you could tell. That, as you could tell, is pretty amazing. And, you know, like, you've turned your life around, and just listening to you talk now, I could tell that you're not just going through the motions, you generally cared about what you're doing. Yeah. And it's brilliant, and the audience response then has just shown that. If anybody's watching this now, we are at MMTV, proper Manchester television and all that. If anyone's going through what you went through and can relate to the lifestyle you had, what advice would you give them? Well,
I'd firstly say that there's a solution. you know, there's a solution to addiction. Me, myself, and a lot of my friends today, all my friends today are in recovery. You know, I don't have it really with my old friends. I have it with Carl now and then because I love Carl, but, you know, but people in recovery are who I'm with because it's me new world. So what I would say to people who are struggling, that come into a service, you know, get help. There is help out there. There's loads of help out there now. So when I first come into services in 1989, 1992, there wasn't as much help as there is now. There's loads. There's rehabs all over. There's drug treatment centres all over. There's holistic therapies all over. There's counselling. There's everything. You know what I mean? So you don't need to suffer. So I would say, come in, ask for help. You know, it's about asking for help, not suffering in silence, because it's easily done that. And you know, you can recover. I just say there's help out there. So just ask, because there's people like myself and a load of others who are there to help, you know, and as long as you're willing to do what we suggest you do, you know, you will recover.
Do you know what? On MMTV, we're looking to have some great bands, great musicians, great sports people, great people involved with music. But when we have people like yourself on, motivational speakers, we always get the best response because it's real life. You could have quite easily come out of prison, gone down the wrong route again, but you haven't. You've turned your life around. Mm-hmm. You're helping other people. You're saving people's lives, and you're making a massive difference. You're a top man. Daran Campbell.
Thank you.
So that is what MMTV is all about. If you are watching at home, thank you for joining us. This is MMTV 11 from Marley Mancunia Studios. We have sports people, we have musicians, and we have motivational speakers like Daran. He's a top man. He's turned his life around, and that in Manchester is what we like to hear. We're going to have some more sports people a little bit later on, but now from a great band. They've been around for almost a decade on the Manchester music scene. They're about to release the 4th studio album. The band aren't here tonight, but the main man is from Black Sonic Revolver. It's Leon.
Thank you very much. 1, 2, 1, 2. Thanks for having me. That was very inspiring as well to listen to. And I wonder when this will end. I dream of you night and day. I hang on to every word you say. But I don't know just what to do about you. I said I wouldn't, but I know I'll see you soon. I made the call and now I've lit the fuse. 'Cause I can't hide my desire for you. Spend my days just locked away on a rendezvous with you. And when the phone rings, you know my heart sings, and I know that yours does too, yeah. But I don't know just what to do about you. I said I wouldn't, but I know I'll see you soon. Made that call and now I've lit the fuse. 'Cause I can't hide my desire for you. Well, I don't know just what to do about you. Said I wouldn't, but I know I'll see you soon. I made that call and now I've lit the fuse. 'Cause I can't hide my desire for you. Thank you very much. Hey, I wanted to play that song because that song's about addiction. And I think it doesn't matter if you're a musician on the show, like Dave said, you know, or whatever you've done. Great people are great people. And we all go through the, you know, we all go through the same things, and you've all got people there for you, so I'm going to end with this one. It's called Future. And there's the name of my band. We got 3 albums out, and I bet nobody in this room owns them. But if you want to stream them at some point, or whatever we do these days. This song's on the first album. May I suggest you start with that record? If I could see into the future, what would I see? And where would I be? Would I still be chasing the same old dreams, or would I be falling apart at the seams? 'Cause if I could see into the future, what would I know? Where would I go? And would you still be walking by my side, or would everything have changed with time now? 'Cause if I could see, and if I could see into the future, what would I see? What would I see? If I could see, and if I could see. If I could see into the future, what would I see? And where would I be? And if I knew all the things that I know now, would I change time? If I knew how, if I knew how, if I knew how. 'Cause if I could see, and if I could see into the future, what would I see? What would I see? And if I could see, and if I could see, what would I see?
There we go, MMTV. Let's hear it from Black Sonic Revolver for Leon. Nice one, mate. Listen, don't go anywhere yet. Stay there, pal. MMTV, so Black Sonic Revolver have been... You're right there, pal.
Yeah.
Black Sonic
I'm
Revolver.
not used to being this high on a chair.
I thought you were going to, like, fall off or something
I
then.
thought I was going to break Mark's guitar. Mark was like...
Listen, Black Sonic Revolver have been knocking about around the scene for best part of 10 years. I've known you for a long time,
not
and
that old.
we can sort of like go like 2 years without seeing each other, and then
Yeah.
it's all like bromance again and that, innit? You know what I mean? It's good,
great
innit?
to see you, mate.
You've got your 4th studio album coming out soon. Tell us about that.
Well, we've only demoed it so far. Needs to get in the studio. But
It's sounding good though.
yeah, I like it. I didn't play anything tonight. Bottled it. See, the lads were supposed to play this, but, you know, they're all reading Harry Potter in their underpants.
You're here. That's what matters.
So, yeah, I came.
Have you got any more gigs coming up, you know, in Manchester or surrounding areas?
May the 5th, bank holiday, all day at the Thirsty Scholar / the Attic, as it was.
Yeah.
It's now Zombie Shack. But that's going to be a good all day. There's loads of bands on the bill.
If anyone's coming to watch you at that, what can they expect? New material, old material?
They can expect to grab our tambourine and come and shake their stuff with us.
Well, what you need to do, what you need to do is when you've got that new album out, come back with a full band, yeah?
Yeah, do you know what? I'd love to. I've been threatening to come down here for ages, and I wanted to come and see my mate Mark from up north of the border, so it's nice to be out. I didn't even think I was playing, so thanks for letting me play, Anton.
You're here. And you've gone from looking like you're going to fall off to being like quite comfortable there.
Yeah, that was making me feel uncomfortable. You know, I sit around with a plank of wood on, do you?
From Black Sonic Revolver, let's hear it for Leon.
See?
Okay, this is MMTV 11. We are from Marley Mancunia Studios. We do it every fortnight. It is proper Manchester rock and roll television at its best. We've got some more live music coming up from the Capitals very, very shortly. First of all, though, my next guest is a man who is tipped to be a world champion boxer within the next 3 years. He won his first professional fight last weekend. Will you please make some noise for Aqib Fiaz? Aqib, cheers for taking the time out and joining us on MMTV, mate. Great to have you. And first of all, congratulations on last weekend.
Cheers,
top man. Now listen, I want to talk about your career and how you started and stuff like that. You're an Oldham lad.
Yep.
You started boxing at the young age of 9. What got you into boxing?
Well, first of all, I was very overweight, always being picked on and stuff. And I think one day someone took it too far, ended up hitting a kid, broke his tooth, and my dad was like, right, I'm taking you to a boxing gym.
What, he was like, you're good at this, son?
Yeah, he was like,
You
you're
can
good
do
at
this.
My mum went mad at me. My dad went, I'm taking you to a boxing gym. He took me down to Northside Boxing Club over in Clayton. Fell in love with boxing within the first week. I remember sparring. I was a big hitter, very overweight, so they loved me. I fell in love with boxing and never fell out of love with it since.
So it wasn't something that you did to lose a bit of weight, what you had, or maybe for discipline. It was something that even at that young age you were really, really enjoying doing.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I was good at it, and everyone that was around me said I was as well. So I just believed in myself from then.
Well, they were obviously right, because I think I'm right in saying that all your amateur fights you won.
Yeah.
You didn't lose an amateur fight. That's good going, that, innit? How old were you when you first got in the ring? When you first got in the ring for your first amateur fight, how old were you?
11.
Did you shit it?
Of course I did.
And how long did it take you to knock him out?
No, to be fair with you, I shit it for the first 5 years of my boxing career. Only till I was about 16, 17 maybe. I started, the nerves sort of went, but I was always nervous, even now still. You were doing
all these amateur fights and you were winning them all. Did at any point you ever perhaps become a little bit complacent and thought, I'm going to carry on winning here?
No, I mean, I don't think that's ever been a problem with me because
it would be easy to, wouldn't it?
Yeah, of course it would, yeah, but I mean, you can never underestimate anyone. Boxing is a very dangerous game, as you all know. And in terms of Manchester boxing, not even just boxing, Manchester's a place to be, but in terms of boxing, it's massive. You got stars like John Murray, Ant Crawler, Ricky Hatton, that are all great stars in boxing, and they've shown you how hard it can be. So, no, you can't ever get complacent and underestimate anyone.
This is our 11th episode now, and we've had a boxer on pretty much every one. And one thing that's struck me with all the boxers we've had on is they're all top lads who are really passionate, and you really do believe in what you're doing. You did all of your amateur boxing that you carried on winning. Then in 2015, you became part of Team England. When was the point that you decided to become a professional? How did that come about?
When I got on Team England, I decided I'm actually all right at this. I'd had about 40 fights by then, but I decided I'm pretty good at this. And then I sort of 18 years old, you fight no head guard. First fight, got a cut. And I thought, I'm not getting paid for this, I need to turn professional. So I spoke to Amir Khan, who said to me, you don't want to be doing this for free because you can't take punches forever. You want to go professional. And I think going professional, I want to bring big nights back to Manchester. Manchester boxing is massive, and I can't wait to be a part of it.
There's obviously a lot of people believing you just from doing my research for tonight and talking to people. Obviously, you had your first fight last weekend, which was in your hometown of Oldham. Was that your decision, or was it just by chance it happened to be in Oldham?
A bit of both. Obviously, I wanted my professional debut to be somewhere around my hometown, and there just so happened to be a show in the Oldham Sports Centre around the time I got my licence, so it was perfect.
Do you know when you were doing your training for last weekend's fight for the fight in Oldham, knowing that it was your first professional fight, did you feel any different? Did you train any different, knowing that it's like, right, this is real now, this is my job, this is professional? Did you have to do anything different to prepare for it?
Training was real hard, but I feel like through the amateurs I trained very hard anyway. So no, in terms of training different, I don't think it was. The only difference is sort of like, it's in your hometown, and there's going to be a lot of people there, and there's going to be a lot more pressure. I was sort of dreading that, but on the night, everything was natural, and it was just the ring is my home, so I didn't feel any different. No.
When you were in that ring, you didn't feel any pressure on you more than you had done in your previous amateur fights?
I mean, when they introduced me, and I walked out and I heard the crowd scream, I thought, wow. The hairs in the back on my back stood up, and I thought, wow. But once I was in the ring, no, everything just went. Once the bell went, it was all natural.
Obviously, that was your first professional fight. It was in your hometown. You won it. What are your memories of that fight last week?
I don't really remember much, to be fair. It was all a blur. But when I was in there, I didn't want it to be over. I remember thinking that in my head, and I just couldn't wait. I can't wait to be back out again.
So you're in your hometown. You've got a massive crowd there. Everyone's cheering for you. You go and have your first professional fight, and you win it. What do you do after that fight?
I went home, see my mum first, because she didn't want to come. Obviously, she didn't want to see me getting punched. Went home, see my mum, and then there was more boxing on over in America, I think it was. So I was up watching that, and then I fell asleep.
So you've not like celebrated in any way, or you know?
No, not too much. I've sort of celebrated a bit with what I've ate and stuff. Had a few chips and that, chippy tea. But
You're bad man.
yeah, that's about it.
Good kebab shop round here, you know.
Is there?
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
right.
Yeah. So obviously you've done that. You've done your first professional fight. I'm going to ask about what's next in a minute. That's coming. But obviously there's a lot of people behind you. Your trainer is Jamie Moore, and I've got a quote of him as well that predicts that you're going to be a world champion in 3 years. How important to you is Jamie Moore being as a trainer?
Well, my first fight with him was on Saturday, and I think the people that have seen me fight before could see the improvements, and there's been massive improvements. And going forward, there's only going to be more improvements, and I can't wait to see how far he can take me.
That statement he's made that he believes, I mean, he's well respected. You know, a lot of people spoke about him and stuff. That is a massive statement that you're going to be a world champion in 3 years. Does that put pressure on you, or is that kind of like inspiration that you're going to do it? For Jamie, you're going to do it?
I mean, there's sort of two ways that could go. That could either put too much pressure on you and you'd fold, or it could make you want to go on and do what he said.
And which way is it going to take you?
And it's going to make me go and do what he said, because
That is what we want to hear. Speaking of that, we've got to ask the next question. What is next? What's your next? When's your next fight?
We're looking around June time. Obviously, another eight weeks something. I'm not too sure where at the moment. Hopefully in a big card, because that's all I want to do. I just want to bring Brig Knights back to Manchester, and and represent Manchester.
Listen, do you know what? I'm going to say good luck to you for the future, but looking at what's going on, you don't really need it. But we send love, we send good luck. Yeah. And thank you so much for joining us on MMTV. Well done on last week.
Thank you for having me.
And I'll tell you what, keep in touch, keep up to date with your career, and come back on and tell us what's coming next year.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's hear it. Will you make some noise, please, for Aqib Fiaz? Top man. Okay, we are getting towards the end of MMTV Volume 11. We have got some more live music. Are you boys ready? Before we introduce the band, one thing I want to tell you about, if you don't know about this, is the fact that MMTV is going on tour, which you may think it's mental, but it's going to be a brilliant, brilliant trip, and absolutely everybody is welcome. It's between the 7th and 12th of May. We're going to be heading down south, starting here at Marley Mancunia Studios. We're going to be doing 4 shows on the way. We're going to have loads and loads of special guests, and it's going to finish off at a big party in Newquay, which is going to be hosted by Graham Park and Marshall Jefferson. If you want to be with us on that trip, numbers are limited. All you need to do is get in touch with the MMTV through our social media sites or through our website, which is mmtvmanchester.com. mmtvmcr.com is our official website. You have been watching MMTV 11. We're not quite finished yet. We've got more stuff to tell you about, but it is time for our last live band of the evening. Will you please put your hands together and welcome to MMTV 11, a brand new band from Manchester. You're going to love them. This is the Capitals.
everything I never thought I needed. Feel my pulse reach and my heart is still beating. Head over heels and my heels are bleeding. I'm seeing visions of a life of freedom. Break her leg, break her sweats, break my neck just to get noticed by you. Break my heart, hear my voice, share your thoughts so we can. Break her leg, break her sweats, break my neck just to get noticed by you. Break my heart, hear my voice, share your thoughts so we can carry on. I'm ready for attention. I'm ready, oh, I'm ready, it's hard to mention why. I'm ready for attention. I'm ready, oh, it's hard to mention why. I'm ready for attention. I'm ready, oh, I'm ready, it's hard to mention why. I'm ready for attention. My blood and it's in my hair, and I won't stop until I am dead. It's my release and it's my religion. You'll never understand unless you listen. Break her leg, break her sweats, break my neck just to get noticed by you. Break my heart, hear my voice, share your thoughts so we can. Break her leg, break her sweats, break my neck just to get noticed by you. Break my heart, hear my voice, share your thoughts so we can carry on. I'm ready for attention. I'm ready, oh, I'm ready, it's hard to mention why. I'm ready for attention. I'm ready, oh, it's hard to mention why. I'm ready for attention. I'm ready, oh, I'm ready for attention. I'm ready. Thank you. Feeding off my emotion, calling itself devotion. It's hard to get by when you keep on calling this a lie. We'll never know how far we can go. In my heart and in my head, we're better off dead. In my heart and in my head, we're better off dead. In my heart and in my head, we're better off dead. In my heart and in my head, we're better off dead. Calling on my faith again, finding my self-belief, putting words to paper, speaking through criticity. We'll never know how far we can go. Finding the meaning behind all these words. There must be a reason. I've been blessed with a curse. Finding the meaning behind all these words. There must be a reason. I've been blessed with a curse. My heart and in my head, we're better off dead. In my heart and in my head, we're better off dead. And in my heart and in my head, we're better off dead. In my heart and in my head, we're better off dead. Finding the meaning behind all these words. Must be a reason. We're better off dead. Finding the meaning behind all these words. There must be a reason. We're better off dead. Thank you.
There we go, nice one, lads. Let's hear it for the Capitals, brand new band from Manchester. No doubt you're going to be hearing much more of them. Have you got any social media channels set up or anything like that yet?
Yeah, so like Facebook, Instagram, whatever you want to get us on, we're on there.
Brilliant. Let's hear it once again. Manchester's great new band, the Capitals. Cheers, lads. Thank you. Okay. That does bring us to the end of another MMTV Volume 11. If you did enter the competition to win a couple of DVDs about the Hacienda, we'll let you know via the social media channels who's won them. But before we do finish, a massive thank you once again to all of our guests tonight. Live music, we've had the Capitals, Marc Culley and Leon from Sonic Revolver. Our special guests tonight, who I think you'll all agree have been dead interesting, brilliant to have them all on. Former Hacienda manager Angie Matthews. Yes, massively important person on the Manchester scene. Our motivational speaker tonight, it is so good to have people like that on. Daran Campbell. And of course, a man who is predicted to be a world champion boxer within the next 3 years, Aqib Fiaz. Don't forget, in conjunction with JD Sports and MMTV, it is the big Manchester in Wonderland event at Bowlers this Saturday. If you go in, I'll see you down there. All the event can be found, Manchester in Wonderland. Just type that in and it will all come up. But a massive thank you to everyone for tonight. Please don't forget, do share this. It is Manchester television at its best. If you've missed any of the previous episodes, you can find them on our YouTube channel. And of course, all the information is on our website, MMTVMCR.com. But a massive thank you to the people who put this together. Anton, Fatneck and Georgina, who were responsible for MMTV. And of course, our man behind the cameras, Jordan. Nice one, mate. That brings us to an end of MMTV 11. I've been Dave Sweetmore. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your company. Please share this. We are back here 2 weeks tonight, which is the 4th of April. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you for watching MMTV 11 from Marley Mancunia Studios. Good night.
It's Manchester in Wonderland. We're heading back down the rabbit hole for a magical trip back through the music that shaped a generation. With 3 arenas of the UK's finest tribute acts and live DJs. Classic house, old school and acid house, and the biggest Manchester anthems. Manchester in Wonderland, Saturday 23rd of March at Bowlers Manchester, Outdoor Fairground and Forecourt 2. Tickets from skiddle.com and the Manchester Facebook page. with the official Manchester brand, JD and manchesterradio.com.